What's crack-a-lacking, folks? It is Hulu here, and today I'm going to try and teach you how you can win more fights in Fortnite Battle Royale. It's becoming more and more difficult in Fortnite to win fights, as I'm sure you know, and you are continually having to get better and better to keep up with the average player. In this video, I'm just going to be going over the absolute basics of how to win a fight. So even if you're an advanced player, this is still highly recommended that you watch, because you may be missing out on the very basics that is stopping you from getting those 10 to 15 to 20 kill games that we all desire so much. The number one most important thing about winning a fight is having good aim. If you have perfect aim, you are never going to lose a fight, because simply every time they hit you, you're just going to do even more damage back to them. So having good aim is an incredibly good skill, and if you watch the pros play, you'll see that almost every shot they hit, they're hitting, when they're playing with shotguns, they're hitting for over 100, they're hitting those headshots. So what you want to do is practice your aim, go on creative and try and practice aiming at targets, that sort of thing. Practice aiming while running and jumping, and you want to aim for the head, especially with shotguns. With shotguns, if you aim for the head, with the new tac shotgun that's come in, there is a 2.25 times multiplier if you hit the head, which means that instead of doing 50 damage to a body shot, you do over 100 damage to the head. I think it's about 115, which is a huge difference in a fight, and that can definitely be the difference between winning and losing, and there's definitely the difference in most fights if you watch them. The second most important skill is building, and building and editing go hand in hand here. Obviously, building is important when you're going for high ground. So high ground, in my opinion, is not always important, but when you're outnumbered, it is the right play to go for, to try and go for high ground, because if you're in a duo and your other duo partner's off somewhere else and you're trying to take on this duo, you don't really have much of a hope if you're on the ground and there's one above you and one from the side, and you're just going to get sandwiched. Whereas if you're on top and they're both shooting from below, and you can easily separate them, isolate them, and shoot one another without the other one shooting you, if that makes sense. But building is incredibly important when it comes to getting high ground, because if you can build faster and have better building skills than the person you're fighting, you will more easily be able to get high ground. But high ground isn't essential. You can still win a fight off low ground. Remember that. Remember that you don't always have to get high ground, and if you lose high ground, you haven't lost the fight. You could still easily win the fight. I've won a heap of fights from low ground against really good players. If a player is really good and outbuilds you, you can still beat them with better aim or better editing. So, which leads me into my next point, which is editing. I recommend that you spend a decent amount of time in creative practicing editing, because after I have practiced some edit courses over and over again, I noticed a dramatic increase in my editing skills. It is amazing how much more fights I've been able to win, simply because as soon as someone pulls out a pickaxe to break my wall or to try and break my roof, I can edit and shoot them and reset the wall or the roof without them even doing anything. They're still swinging their pickaxe. They may take your wall and your roof, but you can just edit out the back and build another box before they can even do anything again, because you are so fast at editing. Like I said, editing is a very important skill. It's not going to win you the fight, but it's definitely going to help you. Combine editing with good aim and you'll win any fight. I can guarantee you that. You can be the worst builder, but as long as you have good edits and good aim, you can win a fight. Because so many of the fights in Fortnite these days are about sitting in boxes and quickly editing out and shooting. There are some quick fights that is about building over the top and shooting them then, but most of the time it is about finding that right edit to just quickly edit, peak shot, hit them for over 100 damage, bam, fight's over. You can push that with the SMG if they've still got health, and then it only takes a couple more shots for them to die anyway. So those are the most basic level skills, and they're the skills you're going to want to work on in creative if you want to win fights in Battle Royale. I highly recommend that you warm up in creative for about 20 minutes every time you play Fortnite, just so that you're ready, you're prepared, and it helps to develop those skills tremendously. Playing hours and hours of matches a day isn't actually going to help you as much as you might think it is if you're not backing that up with practicing building and editing techniques, as well as practicing aiming with different weapons, shotguns, snipers, ARs. Now obviously there is a whole variety of techniques that you can use to win fights, and I'm going to go over, I'm slowly going to go over them in more videos along the way. So if you do want to see more advanced content, make sure to subscribe and like, and I will be releasing more of those videos. But for this video, we're just going to keep it with the basics. We're going to go back to basics to make sure you've got everything right, because you don't want to be trying to do advanced techniques when you haven't mastered the beginner stuff. And the most important thing, even if you're the best builder and editor in the world, the most important thing is your aim. And that can always be worked on. That is the very basic thing that you need to work on in a fight. I need to work on, even though I'm a good aimer, I still need to work on my aim. You still need to work on your aim. You can't get lazy with aim, because that is tremendously important. Imagine if your aim was almost as good as an aimbotter, you'd get 30 kills a game. Like, that's the reason why aimbotters get so many kills, because aim is just ridiculously important. My last point is going to be tracking. Tracking is, I guess it's a subset of aim, but it is knowing where your opponent is and continuously tracking them with your crosshair. If you do this, as soon as they pop into sight, you'll be able to shoot them. That means that you always get the first shot off on them, and even if they hit you back, you'll probably hit them for more damage because you were scoped in on where they were. I've won so many fights from someone jumping out and shooting me, but I knew where they were going to come from, and I knew exactly where they were. So before they could even pull out their gun, I hit them for a lot of damage, and they may be able to hit me back, but it won't be for as much damage, and more than likely they'll be dead anyway. I will also be doing a detailed breakdown on high ground versus low ground, as well as when you should take fights and when you shouldn't. So make sure to click that subscribe button and look out for more videos to come. Hulu is out. Bye.